You already know what time it is. Maybe you don't. Today is a different day. This is not weekly update. This is a book review. So I did chapter 2 of The Art of Persuasion by Bob Burg. And chapter 2 is titled Learning the Art of Persuasion. The first little bit goes into you need to establish how the other person feels about you. And there's two types of this. There's the short-term ideas about this and the long-term. So if I need something from somebody at like a grocery store, like somebody who works there, that would be short-term, like an idea. And then if I wanted to like build a friendship, that'd be a long-time idea. And the trick is you want to make the other person feel a certain way about you that you control. And we'll get into how to do that in this video. So the first section is about thoughtfulness. It's a habit. It's a way of life. Thoughtful people don't wait for an opportunity to be thoughtful. They create opportunities to make the brighter, smoother, and more enjoyable life for others around them. And that, in return, makes them a happier person for it. If you need examples for this, hold a door. Comment on how cute a baby is if they're at parents are at a restaurant and the baby's crying and they're clearly stressed. That's a good way. What else do you have? Give people credit for an idea. That's a big way to feel thoughtful. And it's essentially just make small little gestures of kindness that slowly add to your reserve, your bank of goodness. Like you just keep building on top of, all right, this is good. And then people notice that and they're like, wow, this guy's a really good guy, or this girl's a really good girl. That is one way to do that. And then they want to do more stuff for you to help you out. The next subject is feeling the other person's feeling. Put yourself in somebody else's shoes. We've heard it 1,000 times around. But make yourself feel what you're feeling. There's a reference in this book about the author of 7 Highly Effective Habits of Healthy Teens. I have read the book. It's by Sean Covey. Very good author. I actually have it right here with me. Very good author. I would love to mirror this for you guys. I don't know how to do that. But essentially, the author talks, I think he talks about it in the book, he might. But essentially, it's about him going into a subway and his kids are running, not his kids, he sits next to somebody whose kids are running around all wild and he comments on it and he's like, dude, what are you doing? And the guy who he talked to is like, sorry, I don't know how to handle this, my wife just died. And then Sean, the author, was very taken back and he felt very apologetic about the way he behaved. You never know what the person is going through that you're interacting with. You never know. They could be having a really rough day. So just try to understand that and put yourself in their shoes. On to the next topic. People do things for their reasons, not yours. A lot of these quotes are from How to Win Friends and Influence People in this section, and a lot of the information is from that book in this section. People make decisions so that they will benefit themselves in the end. This means like you gotta make every situation a win-win, because in order for somebody else to get on board with you winning, they need to win. So like if you ask a favor, do something in return. Make them feel really good about themselves so they feel like they're winning. And then ask something. That way it's a win-win. You can't just take. You have to give some, take some. Let's see. Next section. I am going to go briefly because this was a long chapter and it would take me too long to get through it. I want this to be a good outline so you guys don't have to go through and read the book yourself. Alright. This is the next section. People will do what you want them to do. Take that back. I said that wrong. My apologies. People will do what they expect you. Let me say this one more time. People will do what they think you expect them to do. that was really hard for me to get out, I will go through and explain it. So, essentially, if you expect somebody to think of you doing something in a bad way, you're probably going to do it bad. So, like, if I go up to you and I expect that when I ask you to do something, you're going to say no, there's a high chance you're going to say no. But if I go up to you and I'm like, hey, can you do this for me? And like, I appreciate you going out of your way to do this. I know I haven't even asked you yet, but you just seem like that person who would do it. Like, they're more, like, they want to do it. They feel better about it, and they're more willing to do it. So, always try to keep that in perspective. If you want more information on this, there's a book called How to Have Confidence and Power in Dealing with People by Les Gibbons, which is a good book. I've briefly looked over, I haven't read the whole thing, so that would be recommended to read. But on to the next section. Politeness, patience, and persistence. Politeness disarms a person, which is important. And then there's a life quote here. It's called, "If life is a balance act, why am I so darn clumsy?" This was by Dick Bates. This kind of talks about just level it out. You never know. Back to putting yourself in other person's shoes, you never know what the other person's going through. Being polite helps, Just be balanced on the inside, so whatever you share is good. Politeness is a hallmark of the gentleman or gentlewoman, which it's been quoted. Patience, when things don't work out at first, it's the best option to go. It helps when you don't get your way immediately. And persistence. Persistence is keep trying politely to get the reaction that you want. So 3 most important P's. Politeness, patience, and persistence. You ask something politely, they say no. You stay with it. You're patient, you take your time, like, alright, that's alright. Then you ask another way, but you stay polite. That's the key. Persistence isn't just asking again and again. It's asking politely again and again. It's doing the right thing again and again. It's not just doing the same thing again and again. It's doing the right thing again and again. Next section. Motivating the unmotivated. Appearance matters. You should look a lot like the person like you need help from can connect to. So if I go to a gym guy, I kind of want to be like looking a little buff, That way they're more apt to connect to me and feel that like in a relation. If you don't always know the person you're talking to, always presume that they have a more prestigious title. For instance, if you walk in and you see somebody at like a car dealership, ask them if they're the general manager. Maybe they're just a salesman and that's going to make their day. But under the chance that they are actually the general manager, never call them a salesman, because then the general manager and you will get off on the wrong foot, and then you have to work back, and it takes more time instead of just always presuming that they're a higher title than they are. A lot of people don't get this anymore. Call people Mr., Mr. I can't think of any last names. I'll use my own, Mr. Ethy or something like that. It makes them feel more respected as if you actually truly give them the sense of gratitude. This helps in putting them in a position of power and gratitude, which you must have if you want to win-win. So you just remember that. It makes people more apt to want to do things to help you. It makes people more apt to want to go out of their way to give you the win. Next section, these sections next are going to be a little bit quicker. They weren't as in depth, so they might just be kind of bullet points. Thank you in advance is always the best insurance policy you can buy. I'll just do the quote that I quoted. Mr. Smith thank you for taking a moment out of your schedule to speak with me. That's what you say at the beginning of a sales call, like a cold call. You say that because they already feel gratitude that you thank them for taking their time, which is important, which they want to feel. Next bullet point, acknowledge a job well done gives you a lifetime of repeated effects. If you acknowledge somebody's effort to go and do something for you once, like out of the way for you once, they're more likely to do it for you again. If I ask somebody, like, I don't go to Starbucks, but this is a reference you guys might get. If I go to Starbucks and ask them, can you make it this certain way? I know you guys don't typically do it way, but for me, can you? And then you're like, you guys did a great job. I appreciate you doing that so much. They're more likely to do it for you again the next time and the next time, even without asking. And they're not going to be moody about it, even if it causes them more work. And it really shows that you appreciate the effort they put in. Behavior that gets rewarded gets repeated. It's a quote that goes with that. This sounds horrible when I'm going to put it like this, but this will make sense. If a dog does something good and you give them a biscuit, they're going to do it again. So they get another biscuit. It's kind of the same way. That sounds horrible, but it's kind of the same way. All right, next section. Handling rude people on the phone. This what I'm about to say next goes into all aspects of life, and it's been a really important thing for me to remember. You must respond to everything. Any conversation, any confrontation you get into, respond. Never react. Responding's thinking out what you're going to say. It's processing it. Reacting's based on purely emotion and will never get you the win-win. So, if you're on the phone with somebody who's rude, hear them out, listen to them, and then say very sincerely, I'm sorry, I must have said or done something to upset you. Did I? And that kind of gives them, like, take a step back. Say, I'm like, hello, how are you today? And they're like, what do you want? And they're all like rude and aggressive about it. I'm like, sorry, did I say something to offend you? If so, I apologize. And then take a second and be like, sorry, I'm having a bad day. You respond with, boy, I've had some bad days lately. It's always a lousy feeling. And then don't interrupt and just keep going with it. And listen to what they say back. Just kind of talk it. And at that point, they felt connection with you and they typically snap out of it. If not, go back to the 3 P's. Politeness, patience, persistence. Just keep trying to connect to them, give them the respect they deserve, call them Mr. once, thank them for taking the time out of their day, and just all of these connected helps you with that. This was a little bit of a longer video for this chapter, but it is over. If anybody has any questions, feel free to comment it. But yeah, hope you guys have a blessed day, and love you all.